We all know video games are huge, right? I mean, they're this massive global pastime, connecting millions of us in these incredible virtual worlds. And look, for most people, it is a super fun, totally healthy hobby. But for a small number of folks, that line between a passion and a real problem, it can get a little blurry. So the big question is, how do you even tell the difference?
And yeah, that's really the central question we're going to dig into today. When exactly does a deep love for gaming cross that line and become something, well, more serious? So we're going to look at the official signs, the potential risks, and what the experts are actually saying about this whole thing. It's a pretty complex issue, for sure.
Okay, so to kick things off, it's super important to get this straight. We're not just talking about playing video games a lot. I mean, tons of people do that. No, we're talking about a really specific pattern of behavior. And it's one that major global health organizations have now officially recognized as a condition that, yeah, it requires some serious attention.
All right, so here it is. This is the official definition from the World Health Organization. They basically describe gaming disorder as a pattern where someone starts to lose control over their gaming. And what's really, really crucial here is that it's not about the number of hours you play. It's about gaming taking over, pushing everything else, school, work, your friends, even just taking care of yourself, pushing all that to the side.
So that whole definition is really built on three main things that doctors and clinicians look for. First up, there's a loss of control. This is when someone just can't seem to manage when or how much they play. Second, there's prioritization. This is pretty straightforward. Gaming just becomes more important than pretty much anything else. And the third one, which is maybe the most critical, is continuation. This is when someone keeps on gaming even when there are clear negative things happening in their life because of it.
Okay, so what does this actually look like in real life, day to day? Well, there are a few pretty clear warning signs that can show when a habit might be tipping over into something harmful.
Right, there are three major red flags to watch out for. The first one is called preoccupation. This is when gaming is just always on someone's mind, even when they're not actually playing. Then you've got withdrawal symptoms. Think of things like getting really irritable, anxious, or even sad when they can't game. And third, and this is a big one, is a noticeable loss of interest in other things they used to love, other hobbies or hanging out with friends.
So you might be wondering, how common is this really? And are certain people more at risk than others? It's a fair question. And actually, the data gives us a pretty clear picture. Right now, the estimates suggest that gaming disorder affects about 2 to 3% of all gamers. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds like a really small number. But you gotta remember, there are billions of players around the world. So that small percentage, it actually adds up to millions and millions of people. So let's put that into perspective. For the vast, vast majority, we're talking 97 to 98% of players, gaming is totally fine. It's a healthy, fun, manageable hobby. But for that small slice of the pie, it can become a really serious health issue that needs to be taken seriously. And the research has also pointed to some specific risk factors, things that make certain groups more vulnerable. It turns out the condition is most common in adolescent males, especially guys between the ages of 12 and 15. That group seems to be at a particularly high risk for the negative effects. Now, here's a really important thing to keep in mind. This is all a pretty new field of study, so not everyone in the medical world is on the exact same page about it just yet. And that brings us to two really key perspectives from the medical community. So on one side, you've got the World Health Organization. Their manual is called the ICD-11, and they do officially include gaming disorder as a real diagnosis. But on the other side, you have the American Psychiatric Association's manual, the DSM5, and they've listed it as a condition that needs more study before they make it official. So you can see the debate is definitely still happening. Okay, and finally, this is a huge piece of the puzzle. It's almost never just about the game itself. Gaming disorder is often tangled up with other mental health challenges. And this is so important. Conditions like depression, anxiety, and ADHD often go hand in hand with gaming disorder. Sometimes the excessive gaming is actually a symptom of one of those underlying issues. It's a way for someone to cope or escape. But it can work the other way too. The negative stuff that happens because of the disorder can end up triggering or even making those other conditions worse. So, at the end of the day, we're left with this big question. In a world where our digital lives and our real lives are so connected, figuring out this distinction is more important than it's ever been. I think the goal for all of us is to make sure that the virtual worlds we love are making our reality better, not taking it over. Thanks so much for tuning in.